Info. Good morning to you again. This is Days Today, the second half of it. My name is Wemimo Adewuni. Jimi
Disu is here. Morning.
Good morning. You can join us live on Facebook and YouTube right now and tell us your thoughts on the stories as we bring them to you. If you're using Twitter, use the hashtag NigeriaInfoMCF so I can read from you. Let's start off right away with this story by the Vanguard newspaper. Government marketers trade blames as scarcity bites harder. Scarcity persists as NNPC, Ipman differ on availability of products. Queues remain in Abuja, Lagos, Osun, Kaduna, Kano and others. We have over 1.8 billion liters of PMS. No plan to raise pump price, says Kyari. That's the Millie Kyari. There is short supply in the system, says Ipman. Subsidy, Senate President urges Buhari to transmit bill to amend PIA. If we have 1.8 billion liters, where is the fuel now? I need to know where it is.
Yeah, I was just going to apologize to our people that we have no cheering news. Not only don't we have a cheering news, we don't even have anything in the horizon
that looks bright.
We don't have anything that tells you that, okay, by this weekend, the situation will abate. It will not, from what we can see. A complete lack of direction. Our Minister for Petroleum, who doubles up as president, is away on official and private assignment, and we are left here in all kinds of confusion. The truth is, we still can't put our finger on what exactly went wrong. Remember, Wemimo?
Yes, sir.
We started from the standpoint of bad fuel.
Yes.
Now is dovetailed into the short supply. And Kyari says that, okay, we have 1.8 billion liters of PMS. And then Wemimo is asking him, where is the 1.8 billion? Where is it? Could somebody at least tell us the truth so that we can plan our lives? The distress, as early as this morning, as early as I left home at about 6:15, the queues had surrounded my neighborhood.
Go back. I'm talking about 4 a.m. when I'm coming at 4.
Oh, you came at 4?
Yes, the queues are, and people are hustling to buy fuel at that time.
At 4?
Yes, 4.
You should move to my house.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, encore. Say that.
I have a spare. There's nothing to happen. I don't like that kind of situation.
No.
It was something just, it was just a kind offer. That was all.
Yeah, actually, it will be considered.
It will be considered. Well, we're trying to make light of it because we don't want to flog you to death. I can imagine the stress all of you are going through, especially those who are in the traffic. By the way, the Lagos State government says that they're going to seize any vehicle that disturbs traffic, in queuing. That is nice and commendable, but would you please then deploy your men to, people have to queue for fuel anyway. So we hope there'll be a bit of balance there. They won't go in there seizing vehicles and traumatizing our people further. But I can understand where the Lagos government is coming from. There's so much traffic due to this shortage.
So some of the filling stations are actually trying to manage, arranging this. Sometimes the filling station is on this side. People want to come from the other side to also join the queue. So I see that on Alfred Rwani, for instance, there's a way they align them on the other side of the road. And so they pass some here, then pass some here.
Maybe what we should do in our town planning designs and approval for petrol stations and whatever, we should take into cognizance every petrol station should have a facility to contain another 100 vehicles. Since shortage has become part of our lives, and that's a joke. That's a joke.
Because, man.
Well, since petrol shortage has become part of our lives, maybe we should look at things like that. But it's a mess, in all honesty. It's a mess. And the government is, and it's sad. Anyway, we have just one more year to go. It is sad that even from wherever he is, the president is not telling us something. We are not getting anything that says this directive has been issued or this is what is going to happen into. It's just like a rudderless state.
Like a free-for-all.
It's just like a free-for-all. I mean, it's just like a rudderless state. We are lost at sea.
I hear some NNPC stations. Someone said yesterday that around Ikpaja, the Mabule Egba, that even NNPC stations are selling for 200. That they won't change the meter to 200. So how you can
we have been through this trauma before. I mean, we've been through this trauma for close to 20 something to 30 years. Okay, it's the same pattern. You want to increase. After this now will come strike. After strike, labor, and they will lock themselves up in the room. Whilst we are outside agonizing, they pretend to be fighting. We know the way these things go. But must they go through this? Especially given the current times that we are in now with other things added. See, we are pushing people in this country. But don't let me go there. I don't want to work myself up. Let's look at
another
something.
story.
Is there anything better you can talk about?
No doubt. I wish there were, sincerely. International students caught dying by the side of the road trying to flee Ukraine, according to report. Buhari approves $8.5 million to evacuate 5,000 Nigerians from Ukraine. NEMA leads evacuation process as federal government deploys 3 aircrafts to lift 2,090. 650 from Hungary, 350 from Poland, 940 from Romania, 150 from Slovakia. Roman Empire. No, let me leave that one. Club for sale in your command. I don't know why that's a part of this story, though. Roman Empire at Chelsea.
Roman Empire ends at Chelsea.
For
Club.
sale. What's that got to do with this story?
You're not a football fan. You know, the Chelsea is owned by a Russian.
Okay.
Yes, and so he's put it up for sale before they seize his assets.
Well,
it is heartwarming to see that attempts are being made to evacuate. You can't evacuate everybody. Let's get that one very clear. Listen, also let's get something clear. You have responsibility for your life, generally. An incident like this that gave enough notice, you're lucky, to let's put it bluntly, that the government is in a position to evacuate people. Because every individual should take a reading of wherever he is. And I expect everybody who is, when you are in another man's land, you must make provision for you to have a return ticket at all times in the world that we live in. I mean, let's get that very clear. I'm not saying that, you have no right to ask the government to evacuate. In certain circumstances, yes. But not in a situation like this where enough notice of this tragedy has been given. I wonder, what have you been doing for the past 4 months? You sit back and hope that it won't happen?
I think so.
No, you see, and that is why we ask the authorities, Nigerian authorities in future, to give early warnings to its citizens.
Clear warning.
Warning. And to say that, look, if you don't leave at so and so time, you'll be on your own. Because you see, this is just a scratch, really.
Yes.
This evacuation you're seeing is symbolic. I would assume there are probably 2 times more of these Nigerians, especially those who don't have papers or who've been overstayed or whatever. I assume that some of them are even still caught up. But then look at our thinking. In the safety of our own country here, 200 of our citizens have volunteered to go and fight in Ukraine. I also understand that some people have said that they would rather die in Ukraine
than come back
to Nigeria. That is a very, very unfortunate statement. And, we have a lot of work to do, to encourage our people to think positively and think right.
One of the things I've anticipated in the case of the students, some of them will be worried about getting the fund for their tickets to go back in the case that this resolves and they have to go back to school.
If you're going to Ukraine or wherever it is, you don't buy a one-way ticket is not much cheaper than the return ticket. So the common sense thing to do is that you buy a return ticket and your return is open. That's the way it goes. You don't go buying the one way. It's only a Ukrainian who is here as well going home that would do that. Usually you buy, and like I said, there's not much difference between a return ticket and a one-way ticket in terms of price. In fact, you'll be cheating yourself if you buy. So I would have expected, and once you get a reading, your first responsibility is to go for safety. And then if it then happens that, so there's been some respite or whatever, because even if this gentleman hadn't invaded Ukraine by now, the situation would be tense. Now, coupled with the reaction of those people to black people, you have a double tragedy on hands because they're going to move against blacks. We need to do a lot of rethinking and reorientation of our people for them to understand the way some of these things go. We need to do a deep understanding, deep teaching of our people what democracy means. It doesn't mean that government is going to be there for you at all times. You have to take responsibility. You have to, but I'm happy that this is happening, and I wish all of them a safe journey back home.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Some people do not agree with you, as expected. Okay. Let me see. Let me take this one coming in from Akim Oyeleye, who says that so you expect those of us who live in Europe with our families to pack up and leave because Russia is threatening. Many of these stranded people are students who still have about 3 years in school. He says he's disappointed in your comment. Well, you have an option, right, to stay in a war-torn zone. It's all, even the evacuation is not compulsory.
No. You see that some of the reactions we get here, they rather than get me annoyed, they get me worried. I mean, look at that kind of reaction. We are talking of a war situation here
that could further degenerate.
I mean, I don't understand. But then again, like I said, we need to do an overhaul of our thinking system. The reactions you get from the social media, sorry to say, sometimes, apart from being embarrassing, are very worrying. The thinking process. Or you expect Nigerians to leave because Russia invaded. I mean, look at that. It's
let's go on to another story. Sincerely, it just won't bother.
When I was in Corona. Okay, let's go now.
Tinubu not opposed to reconciliation with Aregbe, according to Aid, explains why ex-governor was absent at Peace Palace.
Well, people will say Tinubu again. Yes, I mean, if he's a front runner and he's making news, we have to talk about it. But this is not what bothers me, because apparently Tinubu wasn't at the meeting between the Alaafin and the Oni. And he says here, Tunde Rahman says, that's his spokesperson, that he saw pictures of the meeting, but Bola Tinubu was not invited to the meeting, which is understandable. Maybe they want to talk with the other gentleman first. But that's not the issue that bothers me. The issue that still bothers me is that, and I'm going to repeat again, whether you like it or not, Bola Tinubu is an icon. And his life should be preserved by those who claim to love him. There's a picture that has gone viral again with his hands shaking. And that tells me something. I'm going to have to bring in Dr. Ayeni. With his hands shaking as he was talking, and then of course, okay, fine, he had a cough, but his hands were shaking. Now that tells me the kind of ailments that are not palatable to hear. Those who love this gentleman should tell him to go take care of his health, for God's sake. He has a wife, he has children, he has family, he has associates, he has elderly people in the GAC, whatever it is, of Lagos. They should all get together and save this man. One, not just from embarrassment, but from his health. They should save him from himself. The Alaafin and the Oni should tell him as their son, your health cannot carry it. And he's consumed by his ambition. It's part of the failings of man. Sometimes you are consumed by your ambition, as people tell you, but it's not enough for you to come and tell some of us in the media that we've told him, but he won't listen. If you are his friend, if you love somebody, you will tell them the truth privately, and in this case, publicly, and take all that it takes to prevent him from. If I was in his position, I know what my family would do. And I call on his family, his friends and associates. This man has you remember he's had so many things that are worrying. The falling down, his speech slur, of course the issue of whether he weed on his body or he didn't wee on his body. I had my own explanation for that. And his spin doctors keep spinning they think that they're spinning these things. Nobody is fooled by all this. And this man carefully, slowly and surely is going to a place that might not be nice to consider and to hear. I plead with him. You're a national icon. You've contributed so much. In your words, you've made so many people. But even Awolowo could not get this prize. There are some things, I plead with him. Look, when I saw his hands his handshaking, I was almost in tears. What is all this? And the image that is being presented to the public itself is not nice. It's not nice. I expect our fathers, instead of when this man visited you, why didn't you call him to the inner room and tell him some home truths? If he didn't listen, you tell him publicly that I'm sorry. This I can understand a bit. Okay, fine. You probably could do this, you could do that. You must look for somebody else to carry on this torch. You can't carry it.
Okay.
But the choice is still his. But if anything happens to him, we will be here to monitor the crybabies who will be saying kinds of things. But we will hold them responsible. Because even though I don't support this man's ambition, you can't take away, and that is the part that is painful, you can't take away his contribution to where we are today, to democracy. You can't take it away. A word is enough for the wise.
Let's see the story. It really drew me in. In fact, I've almost finished reading the whole article. It's in the Vanguard newspaper. While you were talking, I was reading. I truly love it. It's written by Ikechukwu Amechi, Emir of Kano, Epis Tango. This harassment must stop. I totally, absolutely love this write-up. I totally love it.
Well, all of you are familiar by now with what happened in the Ari case. In my case, because of my whatever, I sent messages over and over again to Mrs. Olajide, who is the COO, and she completely ignored, and missed an opportunity, to at least explain to one what actually took place. But essentially it's this: the Emir of Kano was coming in on an international flight, and he was not going to connect, because we need to get that word right. He wasn't going to connect. Connect means that you would have booked your flight en route like that and it goes in a connection. No, he was going to end that flight and then take a local flight. By the time he got to the airport, from what we can gather, the flight was taxiing, and then him and his entourage thought that, okay, because it's the Emir of Kano, the plane could be recalled, and these things are not done. They are not done, and I give Airpeace the kudos for that, for sticking to professional ethics. You can't delay other people just because of 3, 4, 5 people, no matter who they are. It's not done. That's what we're doing in Nigeria Airways. Having said that, this thing is now being heightened gradually. It's been heightened gradually, bringing in all kinds of ethnic sentiments and so on and so forth, which is unfortunate. But Onyema has to be very, very careful. He has to be very, very careful. Now, if the stories we hear, and watch my words, I'm picking them carefully, if the stories we hear about the origins of this airline is anything to go by, then Onyema has enough enemies waiting for him to make a slip, and that slip will definitely come. So he has to be very, very careful. My advice to him on a paddy basis, on the quiet, is go and make peace with these people. These people are elephants they don't forget, and you are going to slip into their hands if the story we hear of the origins of Airpeace is anything to go by. Remember that story is not over yet. You remember the issue of the United States, whatever, and some other developments that have come with some other partner being held, whatever. That's the story for the social media, and that will be sorted out. But in reality, do not be carried away by the bravado of other people, because they don't know. Some of them don't know the interests and whatever that you have. They don't know this, the nuances. They don't get carried away. Don't let them slip it into something that is larger than life. Okay? And this gentleman, Ikechukwu Amechi, I think I know him. Yes, I do know him. He had the paper one time. He stated the facts about how, he states in his article about all that he says here. But he says here that I hope Onyema doesn't apologize. Airpeace committed no crime. If the people of Kano say they don't want the airline in their state again because one of it, yes, I support that stand. But I will call Onyema aside and say, oh boy, as you stand though. As you stand. He would know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. That he needs to handle this thing in a very careful manner so that it doesn't become a big problem for him. But that is Nigeria for you. Unfortunately,
because this is just a professional matter between an airline and a customer.
Yes, but when they say, but you see, when you want to go into these places, you must make sure that your backside is well taken care of. Onyema, part of Onyema's backside is open, so he needs to be very, very careful. Okay, that's my advice to you. That's the best present anybody can.
But should he apologize in this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Officially, he should.
Apologize for what?
No. I said no. Sorry. Officially, he shouldn't.
Okay.
Officially, he shouldn't. But he should walk. He should go and walk the back
end.
The back end and tidy everything up.
Because they actually offered the 7 a.m. flight.
They offered the 7 a.m. flight and so on. It's ego that are setting.
I mean, for a 6:15 flight, they offer you the next one at 7 a.m. to even at their own expense to take you through. They tried.
And ironically, it is said that the greatest antagonist himself used to be a pilot.
And should know better.
And should know better.
Okay.
But you know, it is a pity that everything we discuss has a political element in it. Now it's become somehow full and need domination, this and that and that and this and this and that, all because of a simple lack of discretion. You know, I wonder if you miss a Virgin flight, if you call Richard Branson at home.
And please let the flight wait for me. Okay, let's do this next one. I love it also. Former sport broadcaster Modeli Sarafa Yusuf declares for Ogun governorship race. She was former senior special advisor to Governor Dapo Abiodun on communication.
Yes, and that is the juicy part. Well, she gives hope to people like you.
I beg.
No, she gives hope. She gives hope to people like you. She's in her profession.
I'll pass.
And she's female.
I'll pass.
Like you pass.
I'll pass.
You want to pass.
Because Abby.
But I am happy. I'm happy, you know, because of our exposure and whatever. The part that I find like a journalist is having been an SSA to the governor. And the governor has only done one term. Why do you want to take him on in the second term? We must find out what exactly went wrong.
Nothing has to have gone wrong.
No, something would have gone wrong. This is Nigeria. This is Nigerian politics.
Well, in that light.
Yes, in that light. This is Nigerian politics. But she has all my support. That I can say. I would love to see a female governor, for God's sake. Once.
In the 36 states, we never had one.
I thought that our own Lagos madam here in the APC would have made a bid for it when Sanwo-Olu did, but you know the way APC Lagos operates is completely different. They now went and threw her in a ministry where she still hasn't found her feet. Sorry, Patrick Doyle, I know you put up a case for her, but I believe that Abike Dabiri would have been much, much better if she had been put in the information area. She doesn't seem to understand the nuances of diplomacy and international politics. She doesn't understand it, which is sad.
Let me make no comment.
Which is sad. What did you can make a comment?
Because I don't think that if she was in communication, she would have done better. I mean, with the way she handles issues, that's the point. Now, someone who doesn't handle communications well in diaspora issues, how better would it be on I really can't. Can't.
Would you like to expand your opinion?
No, sir. I would like to go to the next one.
You know,
for some of us that do communication work, you know that there's a diplomatic way. Sometimes you are right. It's just how you've presented your case to the citizens that rubbishes everything. So I'm not particularly impressed.
I understand you perfectly, but you must know that this is a Nigerian radio station, so you have to sometimes
See, I told you I did not want to talk.
I talk now.
Next story. And I saw this video yesterday on Instagram. I almost cried. The video of the sons finally found their mother. A patient who disappeared from Lagos Psychiatric Hospital found. Apparently they had taken her for the first time to see a doctor. The children had been saving money to be able to get her to the hospital. Now she was prescribed some drugs. The son who took her went to pay for the drug. The woman got up from where she was sitting and walked out of the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah. When the son was looking for her, they said, well, we don't know her. We don't know anything. Wow. We don't know anything. The gate men, we don't know anything. We don't know anybody. She was found around TBS with bruises on her body. I hope she wasn't raped also.
No, the question I want to ask first is she was an outpatient.
Outpatient.
So it was the responsibility of the boy.
Of the boy, yes.
So now, what lesson do we learn from that? If you have somebody who has psychological issues and you are taking them to the hospital, make sure there are two of you.
Absolutely.
That's the lesson.
One person must always be with that
person. One person must always be. We are lucky we found this woman.
Yeah.
People who are normal and had wandered away like that haven't been found till date. and said it is sad, but these things will happen. I am happy I give them a lot of kudos for even taking her to hospital in the first instance, because that's what a lot of people fail to do.
Yes.
Fail to do. But it's good news that she's been found. And the managing director of the psychiatric hospital, Dr. Uwe, says that she was found, and they are working with the... It is the sign of the times. There are 10 times more people in our homes, our neighbors, who have the same mental disposition as this woman, but a lot of us are in denial. Get up now, 2 people, take her to the hospital.
So for most of these people, just medication would
yes, and comfort.
And comfort.
Attention.
And I'm really glad that her sons love her so much. They were weeping. I mean, it was really heartbreaking to see the grown guy.
You saw the video?
I saw the video. Grown guy weeping when they couldn't find the woman.
Anybody would weep, whether you are grown or not. As you are, don't you weep? I weep.
I do. I'm saying that it was good to see that her sons cared that much.
I've wept twice in this studio since I came here.
If you do this job and you don't cry, I don't know.
You have to be.
I don't know. But we need to go right now. Jimi Disu will be back at 9 on Daily Digest. And after the news at 8 o'clock, there are allegations that the government is deliberating commercializing healthcare, pushing the burden on the private sector. For what reasons? I'd like to find out. There's a new report that was carried out. Those who did the report will be joining me here by 8 o'clock. Is there a deliberate attempt to to commercialize healthcare in Nigeria? Let's talk about that at 8 o'clock. My name is Wemimo Adewuni. Here's Jimi Disu.
Yeah, thank you. See you.
When opportunity knocks, Doreen answers.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.